Kamala Harris was a center of some trolling, not new for her, not new for any politician these days. But yeah, she was trolled by saying, and I'm going to read it, Harris was at a speaking event and introduced herself. This is what Kamala Harris said. I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her, and I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit. As usual, context helps, right? So when you hear that, she was at a speaking event celebrating, the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And, her description was meant to accommodate the blind and visually impaired people there and listening. So, that's the context of it. In fact, I didn't even need the context. When I heard her describe it, I was like, oh, she's doing that for, blind and visually impaired people. Because, I've been doing this podcast. I'm, learning. I've learned enough to where I heard that and I connected the dots, But, on the opposite side, I kind of understand why she got trolled a little bit for saying that. For those who are not active in our community, they hear Kamala Harris, just describing what she's wearing, saying like the obvious, right? Like, I'm a woman, I'm wearing a blue suit, I'm sitting at a table. Like, that seems strange. So, I get it. This is the point I want to bring up. I know why she was trolled. She was trolled because there's a lot of there's a lot of ways that the left, and I want to remind everyone I'm an independent when it comes to politics. What I'm going to say is, the left, they're kind of, in some ways, they're overcomplicating language, descriptive language. But here's my theory, and I think, you guys know where I'm going to go with this. My theory is she was trolled because she followed up, her description of I'm a woman sitting at a table wearing a blue suit. That followed her saying her pronouns. My pronouns are she, her. That's a controversy that's going on. When it comes to, my personal opinion on pronouns, I don't really want to get too in depth on it, but, I choose to not I'm not actively saying my pronouns. When I introduce myself, I don't say my pronouns are. I don't have them in my Instagram, bio or whatever. And that's me personally. But, I will respect, your pronouns if you have a preference. As long as it's not like that Z-Zer, or Zim or those, kind of more out there, outlandish ones. That's my own personal opinion. There's a debate around pronouns. We can all agree on that. How about that? The right, meaning conservatives, GOP party, likes to poke fun at, pronouns and how the left uses descriptive language. For example, the Latin communities, the Latinx community, pregnant woman is a birthing person. There's some weird language going on out there. All in good spirit, all in trying to be inclusive. I get it. But the right's trolling the left for these, terms. And some of it's justified. But it follows Kamala Harris saying her pronouns. And this is my point. My point isn't about pronouns or any of that. My point is, this is like a slippery slope, right? In the sense that I don't want language that's meant to be accessible and inclusive to the disabled community to be considered as something. I don't want it to be considered something that only the political left do. It's not something to politicize. Accessibility isn't a conservative issue. It's not a Democrat issue. Just like blindness has a spectrum, people with blindness are on the spectrum of politics. There are blind and disabled conservatives. There are blind and disabled liberals. And there's people all across that spectrum, far right, far left, middle, centrist, whatever. But what I don't want the Republican Party to do is to associate inclusivity of disabilities as something that is considered woke. And I think that's what happened with this Kamala Harris blue suit thing. Everyone was making fun of her, calling her woke. They hear, now describing things for, people who are blind. Oh, that's something that only woke people do. And I don't like that at all. And I don't think that's fair. I think that's a lazy takeaway, to associate those things together. But that leads me to another point. Like, why is it that the left seems to be the only political party who uses inclusive language when it comes to, disabled people? And what's it matter to Republicans if descriptive language is used, for the blind and visually impaired? Do people get irritated when, you have, someone up there, ASL, signing, for the deaf community? This is the same thing, So it's like, don't make it something that it isn't. It's not political. Her describing her blue suit is not political. It's her being inclusive and providing accessibility for blind and visually impaired people. That's all it is. So that's my long story short. Accessibility is for all disabled people, no matter what political party you're with. Boom. That's all I have to say.